Hot 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. Hello there. Yes, welcome to a new episode of Hampton Roads Voices. My name is Kilo. As you already know, I am the host for your tonight. And tonight we are talking about The Unforgotten. That's what the title is. And we'll be talking about missing persons, okay? Of course, in the wake of one of the highest profile cases of this area, the case of Miss Ashanti Billy. You know, a lot of people's hearts are going out to her family. And, you know, it's not only her, but a lot of people in this area are actually missing. And they have left behind loved ones who are desperately searching for them, desperately searching for answers to these cold cases. And yeah, if you happen to be someone who is related to another person who is missing, we are here to help. Also, what to do if you find yourself in this unfortunate circumstance and how you can stay safe, how your loved ones can stay safe. Of course, I have special guest experts here to help us and to get us through and to give us the information that we need, okay? So first and foremost, I have Todd Matthews here. He is from NamUs. He's going to tell us exactly what NamUs is. And we also have Mr. Jerry Kale here. He's a private investigator. He's also going to tell us what he does and how he relates to missing persons. So we'll start with you first, Mr. Todd Matthews. You're on the phone way from Texas, correct?
Actually, I'm in Tennessee. I work remotely for the program.
Okay. All righty then. Go ahead and tell us what you do.
Well, on my day-to-day, I'm the Director of Case Management and Communications, so I manage a team of regional systems administrators that receive submitted cases into the national system, and they process them, validate, tweak them, make sure they're very accurate, and then publicize those cases in a limited fashion to the public. And communication side of the house, for either writing press releases, talking to people like you, or, you know, just any other media-related responses that we need to pull together. And honestly, the media is just as important to our work as any forensic tool that we use.
Absolutely.
Awareness is the big deal for us.
All righty. So can you tell us a little bit about what NamUs is?
Well, NamUs it's an organization. It started out more below as a website, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. I was on a working group that helped develop the program back in 2007. Once we got the system completed with two different databases, missing and unidentified, we began to work, and we've expanded a team. We have forensic odontologists, we have fingerprint analysts, DNA experts, anthropology, and all of this is at no cost to the investigating agencies.
Oh, wow. Awesome. All righty. Now we're going to move on to Mr. Jerry Kale of Beach Systems Investigation. Am I saying that correctly?
Beach Security.
Beach Security, yes. Can you tell us what you do, your title? Yes.
I'm actually the owner of Beach Security out of Virginia Beach. I'm a retired Virginia Beach police officer with 27 years experience. Started the business in private investigations about 4 years ago. I worked fraud, homicide, and a couple other detective related areas in Virginia Beach, and that put me into working the private investigations. I'm also an instructor. I instruct the private investigators through DCGS along with security personnel.
Awesome. And of course you work with missing persons.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. All right. So those are your special experts here helping you. Remember, it's called Hampton Roads Voices, so we need to hear your voice, Hampton Roads. Give us a call at 823-9110 if you have any questions regarding your missing loved one. And I'll throw out a question for you, okay? Do you have a missing loved one? We want to put out all types of information, descriptions of, just like Todd just said, the media is really your best friend to getting the word out there about your missing daughter, your son, your mother, your father, you know, anybody. Share their name, please, when you call. Share their description of the last time that they were seen. Any other things that can lead to any information to get them home, okay? You want to call us first, and then, of course, if the police is not already on it, you want to call the police. 823-9110, 823-9110. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to hop into this conversation of The Unforgotten. Right here on Hampton Roads Voices is Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip hop and R&B soul. Hampton Roads Voices is live right now, and tonight's episode is entitled The Unforgotten. We're talking about missing persons, specifically here in the Hampton Roads area and in this region. Of course, in the wake of one of the highest profile cases that we've had in a while of missing Ashanti Billy, we want to bring awareness of people who may have loved ones who are missing, and the cases may not be that high profile as Ashanti's case. Okay, so we're giving you a chance to call in and to let the public know, let us know, and also ask questions to our special guest experts here about any leads or any directions you should take or any advice that you need in order to find your loved ones. Okay, if you have a loved one missing, we're asking you to call all show long to let us know a description of the last thing that they were wearing when they were last seen, where they were, their names, of course, anything that can really help to getting them home safely. 823-9110. That is 757-823-9110. Okay, so we have special guest experts here. Like I said, Todd Matthews, he's the director of case management, and also with the communications department of NAMUS, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. And also we have Jerry Kale here. He's the owner of Beach Security and also a private investigator. Okay. All right, fellas. So let's hop into the conversation here. What exactly is the definition of a missing person legally? Is there such thing as a legal definition? Anybody can hop in here.
You want to go ahead, Todd?
Well, the time frames can be across the board, So and you hop into if you have, because I don't think there's any real definition for that. It can be, people say you have to wait 24 hours to be considered a missing person. That varies so much across the country. I found. I think a lot of it's the opinion of law enforcement when they believe that this person is a missing person and they're actively pursuing it as a missing person.
It is, and you have two different types. You have a runaway, which would be a child under 12 years old or so that has left a home, or you'd have a person that there could be some suspicious circumstances surrounding their inactivity or lack of communication, and that would be considered the missing person portion of a case that would be generated by a police department.
Okay, so if a person ever wants to go missing voluntarily, is that against the law?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. Yeah, because I think I read something about a private investigator found a guy who just cut everybody off, found him 2 states over, working at a grocery store, a small grocery store. And I always wonder, is that illegal just to, just fall off the face of the earth? But it's not. Okay, so you said there's really, it kind of varies across police departments of what qualifies as a missing person and, when they can file that and things of that nature. So when one discovers their loved one is missing, what are the critical steps that they should do first and foremost?
We advise they call law enforcement, of course. And I know I've had people that said they've not been missing for a long enough period of time. Give them a chance to come home. And, you have to remember that your missing person is more important to you than anybody else in the world. So you had to be very firm with this to make sure that they understand that you do have a missing person. And you got to remember, they get a lot of calls. One of the very first offices that I worked with the Missing Persons Day I went was Virginia Beach PD. I worked with Detective Angie Murphy several years ago, and we put together an event. And even the best hear these stories so often, and then many of the missing persons cases are resolved so quickly, and you find out that person wasn't missing at all.
Mm.
As a former investigator, I would suggest too that the family member, if they suspect that somebody is missing, one, not to disturb the bedroom or the apartment or the home in which they were staying in. There could be clues there that you may not be aware of, which would include the computers or any of their electronic devices, iPads or telephones or anything like that can be used to be able to help find your loved one.
Right. Okay. So how do you said there are runaways and then there are missing people. Are they considered runaways, children 12 and younger, if we know for certain that they left home in their own voluntarily, if you will?
Yes. And then you have children that could be abducted or missing in other ways that would be listed under Amber Alerts and other things.
Okay.
But a number of kids, especially during the school year, would be considered a runaway if they leave a note at home and say, hey, I'm leaving for a while, or if there was something that happened at home, an incident that occurred at home, the police officers would make a report. A lot of states consider that a status offense, where it's not a crime. It's not a crime to run away. Where it could help law enforcement is if the child is in need of services. A child in need of services would be a petition that they could obtain from the juvenile system, where it would be able to, we would, as a law enforcement, would be able to hold them or bring them for services, medical services or psychological help or something like that.
Okay, alrighty. So when one discovers that they finally come, some people may wait, but once they discover and they come to, what's the word I'm looking for? They come, I'm sorry, the words are escaping me, but once they realize that their loved one is missing, what are the, I'm sorry, after they take those first steps of calling law enforcement and not disturbing anything else, can they just wait and kind of sit on their hands? And because some families feel as though they feel helpless with letting the law enforcement do all that they can. What else can they do?
They can go out, talk to neighbors, talk to their friends, talk to their best friends, and find out, hey, did they say anything that may lead you to believe that they may be leaving the area, or that they could be in danger with someone else that we just didn't know as family members didn't know about.
Todd, you
can enter their case into NamUs. NamUs is one of the first government databases that allows somebody, the public, anybody, next of kin, best friend, next door neighbor, nosy neighbor, anybody can enter a missing person case into NamUs. It will be vetted with law enforcement before it's published, but behind the scenes, that gives us an opportunity in the event of a missing adult that's been a few days. There's a chance they could be endangered, maybe not. We don't know for sure. We can actually help the family stay very busy. Do you know if this person has dental records that we could seek out? Do you know what they were wearing? Did they have a tattoo? Do you have a picture of it? Just eyes, hair, everything that we can find out about that person. And that gives the family something to do that don't just keep them busy, but it's stuff that's going to be very necessary at some point in time. We'll even work it to the point where a family reference sample of DNA is collected. And that's very important if it comes to the point we have to compare to an unidentified person. We hope for we prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Right, absolutely. We do have a phone call. Hi, 91, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Angel.
Hi, Angel. What's your question, comment, or concern?
My concern was I have a friend who has been missing since January 4th of this year. Her name is Rashonda Gerald, and the last update we had was maybe in May, June. But she's from Norfolk, Virginia, and we still haven't found her. So I'm guessing is it still an ongoing case is what I'm trying to find out.
Do you have any descriptions of what she looks like, where she was last seen?
She was last seen, so they say, in the Young Park area, but her mom stated that she was actually off of Princess Anne Road by the Hardy in Norfolk. They said she was seen with her ex-fiance, who they pulled his phone records, and I think evidence was found. A weapon was also found. But again, the case is still going on.
Okay. So just put her name out one more time. And
Rashonda Gerald, yeah.
I'm sorry. And, one more time, say that again.
Rashonda Gerald, she goes by Shasha.
Okay. You want to describe how she looks?
She's dark-skinned, small, petite. Last she was with pink hair. She has multiple tattoos. I can't really describe where they're at the time. I know she has angel wings across her chest. Okay. I think she was last seen with maybe a pink coat on.
Okay. Thank you, Angel. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
No worries. Make sure you continue to call us and get your missing persons, your missing loved ones information out there to try to get them home. 757-823-9110, 823-9110. Also, if you are currently looking for a loved one, or, you just have questions, okay? We have special guest experts on the phone right now, here live in person right now, ready to help you, ready to guide you into the right direction. Okay. So what we're going to do is take a quick break. And when we return, we'll hop back into the conversation. And then a little bit later, we're going to replay the interview that we had with Miss Brandy Billy. She is the mother of missing Ashanti Billy. And it is breaking news coming from Wavy 10 that I'm going to share with you when we return as well. So please make sure you keep it locked to Hot 91. It's Hampton Rose Voices on Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip hop and R&B soul. Hampton Rose Voices live right now. Tonight's episode is entitled The Unforgotten. Okay, so we're focusing on shining a spotlight on missing persons in this area, particularly the Hampton Roads area. We have special guest experts here. Jerry Kale, he's the owner of Beach Security. He does private investigations. And also Todd Matthews, he is with Case Management and Communications of NAMIS, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. Hello, fellas. Thank you for being here today. Okay. Alrighty.
We're happy.
Okay.
We're happy.
And of course, there is you, Hampton Rose. We would like to hear from you. If you have a missing person that is out there and you really want to get them home, I know you do. Please call in and share any information that could lead to their return home. 823-9110, 823-9110. Also, please post it on our Facebook. Do both. Call us and post it on our Facebook wall, any pictures and any information about your loved one, okay? Alrighty, so, fellas, once it is reported that a missing person, to either you or to law enforcement, you, Mr. Kale, what are the steps that you take, Mr. Kale, personally, and also law enforcement takes to find the missing persons? Anything that you can tell us, of course.
Well, first of all, as a law enforcement official, they would actually come across someone out on the street. They would run them in the database, which would be the NCIC computer. That's the same database that holds warrants for individuals that are outside the state of Virginia. It's national, so that's a national database. There's a Virginia database also for items that are local, such as misdemeanor warrants and so forth. Runaways would also be in the local runaway base or the local database for the police department. So if a police officer comes across a person out on the street and they run them into the computer and they find out that they are a missing person, that person is over 18 years old and there's not a active warrant for them, what they would do is they would just talk to them a little bit to find out where they're staying, to try to get a little bit of information about them. Are they okay? Are they in danger? Do they need any help? Do they need any assistance, with the medical community or anywhere? And would they be willing to contact their family member? And that information would come up on the police computer for the police officer. After the contact with the individual, the police officer would try to attempt to contact the family member outside the state and tell them, hey, listen, we contacted your loved one here in Virginia Beach or Norfolk or Chesapeake or wherever, and they seem to be okay. They have a new telephone number, or this is the way that you can contact them. We asked them to contact you. They said that they would contact you within the next 24 hours.
Okay. So what if the law enforcement or you, Mr. Kale, do not get in contact with the missing persons? They're actually missing. What are the steps that are taken then?
As a hired and a private investigator, what we do is we'll go knock on doors.
Mm-hmm.
We go into the areas where the person was last seen. We'll have flyers. We'll put flyers out in the neighborhood. We'll take a look in social media. We'll look in the dark side of the web, all different places where we can try to locate anything that they may have posted that would help us out with their location, or any friends or family or boyfriends, girlfriends, work associates, anyone.
Now, you said the dark side of the web. What is that? I'm almost afraid to ask. And Todd, you can chime in, but what is that?
What that is it's an area that a lot of people don't are not aware of. There's a lot of databases that are there. You can also there's also other places that you can search too as a family member. Say, for example, if a person is missing, you can actually go on to a link. It's called VineLink, which would show if an individual was picked up on some charge and they're being held somewhere. That would show that they're being held in a facility that you would be able to contact. Another place that you would have trouble with, unless you are a immediate family member, would be in the hospitals. There could be someone that could be in one of the hospitals, but it is a little bit harder to be able to get that information because of HIPAA and other problems.
Gotcha. Okay, so what are the requirements for an Amber Alert? Obviously, everybody can't get an Amber Alert, so how can one get an Amber Alert?
The biggest thing is they have to be under 17 years of age. You have to be a child that's has to be. If Todd, if you want to jump in here too, but there has to be some type of suspicious activity that's going on there. You also have to be. It has to be vetted by law enforcement, just like NamUs. But also you have to have a good description of the person or the child. They just can't put out a vague description of a child. And you'll see these Amber Alerts you'll get them notified on your phone.
Absolutely.
Every once in a while you'll hear beeps on your phone that you're receiving just like that for Amber Alert for social media. They'll have them on there. And also if you're traveling on the interstates, they'll put them up on the interstate signs also.
Yeah, Todd.
And we know they're very careful with that information. They're very precise with that. And we work in our database, our system, all child cases, unless law enforcement opt out of it, are case managed not by our staff, but by the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. So we typically don't have to deal with Amber Alerts unless it's a case that we're managing. And we're basically sharing that information. A lot of that's up to the local agency.
Gotcha. All right, make sure you give us a call at 823-9110, 823-9110, Hampton Roads. If you have a missing loved one, call in and share their name, their descriptions, and the last time that they were seen. Also, please post their photo and all that information on our Facebook wall, WNSB High 91.1 FM, 823-9110. Even if you have questions regarding your next steps into making sure your loved one comes home. All right. Todd, can you, I know that there are 3 different databases of NamUs. Can you break that down for us and let us know what they are?
So we have the missing persons database side of NamUs, and that is literally what it says it is. It's the missing persons side of NamUs. Anybody can make a case entry there. If you have a missing loved one, and I recommend everybody out there, if they have a missing loved one, family member, neighbor, whatever, if you see that they're not in NamUs, you can start the process in our missing persons database. We compare that against the unidentified decedent database, and that's a separate database where medical examiners, coroners, and law enforcement enter unidentified bodies. So they go into the system, and the system is capable of cross-referencing these. So if I have a John Doe, the system, based on chronology, geography, and physical characteristics, it could say it could be these 3 different individuals that are missing, and through a process of elimination. You have actually 9 unidentified bodies in Virginia Beach City County.
Oh, wow.
That we have, that we know of, that's been reported to us. And ultimately we have the unclaimed database. So it is the database where a person has died, the next of kin is known, or they've been, the person's name is known, or they've been identified, but no next of kin is known. So we've not been able to say, so-and-so was found in this state. And, those persons might never have been unidentified. They could have been a person that died that just simply had no family and nobody to reach out to with a death notification.
That's a good point. They might have just not have any family. Okay, so we were talking about Amber Alerts. Is there any alerts for persons over the age of 17 at all?
Yes, and he's from law enforcement, so I think he could speak better to that than I can, because those are initiated at the local agency, basically.
And they are the law enforcement officers. They get a brief every morning or every afternoon right before their shift, and they get that information about that there might be a missing person they're looking for. It could be a runaway too. They read out those to the officers. It's what they call a muster. And during that time frame, what the officers get is information about anyone that may be missing within the last 24 hours from the last shift that they were on. They would take notes on that, and if they come across someone that matches that description, they would obviously try to stop and talk to them and see if that would be in fact the person that they were looking for. But
an alert to the public, is that something for persons 17 and up?
Yeah. You can actually go to the Virginia State Police website, and there's hundreds of those that are listed there with the Virginia State Police website. They have photos. They have some that are what they call cold cases. Also, that would be there in that same listing on the internet.
Okay. Alrighty. Todd, are you still there? Alrighty. So we're going to try to get Todd back on. We're going to take a quick break. But, Hampton Roads, I still want to hear from you if you have a missing loved one. But we're going to ask another question, okay? If you had a missing loved one and unfortunately, they came back home, you found them safe, please call in and share your stories. Maybe your steps and what you did can help someone else who has a missing loved one as well. 823-9110, 823-9110. Today's episode is entitled The Unforgotten. Make sure you keep it locked right here. It's Hot 91. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not those of Norfolk State University or WNSB-FM. Thank you for listening. That's right. Thank you for listening. Hot 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. Hampton Roads Voices is live right now, and we are talking about the unforgotten missing persons of the Hampton Roads area and beyond. Okay, so if you have a missing loved one that is out there and you know that you want them to return home, and I'm sure you do, please give us a call and let us know any information that can lead to their safe return. 823-9110, 757-823-9110. Or if you did have a missing persons and by God's grace, they made it home safe and sound, and maybe you did something that really made a difference in the investigation, or you found something out, or what have you, please give us a call and share your testimony, because you can really help someone else who may need that hope and that faith. Okay, so we have special guest experts here. We have Todd Matthews. He's with Case Management and Communications for NamUs, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Person System. And we also have Jerry Kale. He's the owner of Beach Security, and he works with a lot of missing persons cases as a private investigator. So I said a while ago that I was going to replay the interview with Miss Brandy Billy. She is Ashanti Billy's mother. As we all know, and if you don't know, then Ashanti Billy is a 19-year-old who went missing maybe about 10 days ago. In the Virginia Beach area, Norfolk area. And, of course, her family has been looking frantically for her, looking frantically for answers. And her mother was on the show a couple of days ago on the Kickstart morning show. And Doug and I had the pleasure of interviewing her. So we're going to replay her interview to get the word out there again about maybe somebody knows something and can step forward. And also, there has been some breaking information that Wavy TV 10 is reporting, so I'm going to let you know what that is, too. That is coming up, I'll say around 6:15, we're going to play that interview. All right, fellas, so let's hop right back into this conversation. So, what are there any don'ts? So we know the do's, the critical steps to take when we first learn about a missing loved one. But what are the don'ts for the families? What should they not be doing at all?
One thing I think that they should not do is delete any posts or anything that could be on either the internet, social media, or their phone text or something else that could be helpful to try to get their family member back.
Okay.
I totally agree. Just don't cut off any leads to any evidence that you might have, and you might not really understand how much really can be important. So we tell families to be extremely careful. It's like walking on eggshells at that point in time. Don't do anything that's something up.
Okay. Do we know or have a roundabout about how many missing persons are missing in the Hampton Roads area? Just an estimate that we can kind of throw out there Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Portsmouth area?
Todd, isn't there approximately 200 or so active cases through NamUs?
There is. Let me see. I've actually pulled up a number. I actually sent you guys a number for this. There are 31 unidentified in Virginia Beach City County that's been reported to NamUs.
Okay.
Now, we don't get all those reports because there's no federal mandate that requires entry into NamUs. Some states are passing laws to change it. Just this year in Tennessee, we passed a law that requires missing and unidentified to go into NamUs after 30 days. And I think you have to give law enforcement the first line of defense in a missing person. They're the ones that's right there with you. We can't help you from miles and miles away of the initial search, initial conversation with family members. The things that local law enforcement should be doing, they really come to us when they've exhausted their leads or need to expand their search beyond their jurisdictional area. So that's where we come into play. We try to stay out of their way until it gets to the point that they need to expand.
Gotcha. All right, so, of course, every single missing person's case doesn't end in death and something tragic. So can you guys maybe share a time in which there was a missing person that you were working on or, had your hands in and it was a favorable conclusion to it?
Happens to me a lot, but we're working at a national level, so it's something that we'll have a case canceled, and we're more than happy to cancel a missing person's case and name it as opposed to matching it to a body. Our primary job is matching it to a body, but we don't typically talk directly to the families, giving them a death notification or resolution notification. And Jerry, I think, working in law enforcement previously, he's probably got a lot of experience in that.
Yeah. Here just recently, I actually had a case as a private investigator where I had a family member contact me from Colorado where her granddaughter was missing, and she suspected that she was headed to Virginia Beach, the Virginia Beach area, Norfolk area, through Texas. Of course, we really didn't have many leads in Texas, but here in Virginia Beach, she had some ties with some friends that were prior military here. So with that information, I was able to follow up with some local folks here in the Tidewater area, which then triggered some information getting back to this young lady to be able to contact her grandmother back in Colorado. Of course, she was over the age of 18, so she contacted her grandmother and let her know that everything was okay, that she just decided to spend some time here with some friends that she had met before.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. But for the most part, unfortunately, well, maybe not even unfortunately, how do the missing persons cases that you work on or have worked on, Jerry, and you have your hands in, Todd, how do those conclude for the most part? If you had
well,
to
we
say.
work, a lot of what we do is on the unidentified side, and that's, we know how that's going to end up. When we work from the missing person and work toward the missing, we know exactly how that's going to end up because they are deceased, and it's no question about it.
Right.
One of the things that I would suggest is if you have reported a family member that has been missing, and they have been missing for quite a long time, I would suggest that you recontact the law enforcement agency that you had reported that to rekindle that investigation to see if if there's any other leads or if they could follow up, because they do have some cases that are what they call cold cases, where there's information that has died down, or they're just moving on to other cases that have come up. But in certain circumstances, it's really up to the family to keep on contact with the investigator to make sure that they are still looking for their loved one, to make sure that they're still concerned about their safety and where they're at.
Absolutely. Again,
and that's where we come in often. Often that's actually where NamUs can come in, because NamUs is missing and unidentified is all we do. We can help a family stay in contact with an investigating agency, as we might have several cases with that agency, and we might have a quicker rate of access. They're working multiple different types of situations at a local police officer's agency or county sheriff. All we do is missing and unidentified, so we can help be a liaison for a family in that matter.
Sounds good. So for those who are just joining us, Hampton Roads Voices, today's episode is entitled The Unforgotten. If you have any missing loved ones and you would like to get their information out there, their description, where they were last seen, their names, of course, please give us a call, 823-9110, 823-9110. Go ahead and post it on our Facebook page. Any photos, recent photos before they went missing, any information, 823-9110. I also want to know if you had a missing loved one and you guys searched frantically and you found that missing someone, they came home, please call and share that experience as well. Your testimony can really help somebody else. 823-9110, 823-9110. So for those who are just joining us, Todd, could you explain what the National Missing and Unidentified Person System is again, and how does it help?
Yeah, we're technically an organization now. We're, like you said, the National Missing and Unidentified Person System. We have a staff of 8 regional case managers. We call them regional systems administrators. We have forensic experts on full-time staff, and what we do is compare the missing to the unidentified. And we have a lot of requests where people actually want us to help with ground searches, and that's not something we do. It's what we deal with the cases when law enforcement needs to expand their jurisdiction and look at other areas of the country for a missing person.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so coming up at 6:15, we'll be replaying the interview that I, myself, and Doug had on the Kickstart Morning Show with Miss Brandy Billy. She is the mother of missing 19-year-old Ashanti Billy. And also, I'm going to give you the latest information that just broke this hour, if not maybe about 10, 15 minutes ago, about the whereabouts of Miss Ashanti Billy. Make sure you keep it locked right here, because even though we are a talk show, Hampton Roads Voices, we keep the music going, okay? So make sure you keep it locked. It's Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. Hampton Roads Voices. We are talking about the unforgotten tonight. Any missing persons in this area, any information for loved ones who are trying to find any of their missing loved ones, and of course, how to stay safe. Okay, so if you have a missing loved one, we want to hear from you, Hampton Roads, or if you have any questions at all for our special guest experts, please call in 823-9110. 823-9110. We have special guest experts here. Todd Matthews, he's case management and communications of NAMUS, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, and also Jerry Kale, owner of Beach Security. He works with missing persons cases as a private investigator, and he also has some experience with the Virginia Beach Police Department. So as promised, I have the interview with Doug and I, with Miss Brandy Billy, who is the mother of 19-year-old missing Ashanti Billy. So, of course, if you've been in the news and if you've been on social media, you've seen about the missing investigation with Miss Ashanti Billy, 19 years old. She went missing after leaving her apartment to go to work on base on the Joint Expeditionary Base Little Creek Fort Story on September 18th, and she never made it to work. It was later revealed that her phone was found in a dumpster, and also her car was found with her nowhere in sight. A couple days ago, if not yesterday, there was footage released by the authorities that showed her car entering the base that she worked, and then about 30 to 45 minutes later, her car leaving the base. The authorities can't make out who was driving the car, how many people was in the car, or anything about the inside of the car from the footage. So, breaking news, I'll tell you about that according to Wavy 10 after their interview. So here it is. Okay, technical difficulties, but no worries. We'll get that interview up. But here is the breaking news. So, according to 10 on your side, they have learned of a possible lead in the case of the disappearance of Miss Ashanti Billy. A source closer to the family tells Wavy 10 that they are notified Friday, today, that a body was found in Charlotte, North Carolina. Local TV stations in Charlotte, North Carolina are reporting that a body of what appears to be a woman was found this morning behind a church. The family was told to prepare to head to Charlotte if needed. So the FBI Norfolk released the following statement saying, quote, "We are aware of the situation regarding human remains found in Charlotte area, but there has been no positive identification at this time. We're looking into it, but can't confirm anything," end quote. All right, so there's no other information at the time, but of course we will continue to keep you updated here on Hot 91. Alrighty, so I just have a quick question for you, Mr. Kale. We know that the later on with this case, the FBI and the NCIS were involved with the case. Why was the FBI involved?
Well, actually, the reason for that is most likely because the case stemmed from the government installation on the naval base, where her vehicle was actually seen leaving from the naval base, which involved the NCIS, which also would involve the FBI. So, along with the Norfolk Police Department and Virginia Beach Police Department, of course, because there was some evidence that was found in the city of Norfolk, and her being residing in the city of Virginia Beach. So all of those agencies were working together. I actually talked to some of the investigators one of the investigators that was working on the case, and they had worked a number of hours overtime and so forth working on this case to try to help find her. And they were extremely exhausted, and this was just a day or so ago.
Okay, so what are the requirements for any case that will like the FBI on their case? Because I'm sure a lot of people would like the FBI on their side to help find their loved ones.
For the FBI to get involved, there has to be some federal tie to it. The government agency would have to be tied to it. It could be on a federal installation, or the person would be of high profile for the FBI to be involved. Now, on the other hand, with the NCIC situation, all federal agents, when they're working in their field locations, field offices, they get that information from all over the nation where there's individuals that are missing. So that information is always related or provided to the federal agencies.
Okay. Alrighty. So we'll take a quick break. And when we return, hopefully we'll have that interview with Miss Brandy Billy to get more information out there. Let's not stop looking for Ashanti. Let's not stop looking for your loved ones, okay? Give us a call and spread the word about the description, the name, anything, any kind of information that can get your loved one home. 823-9110, 823-9110. When we return, we'll have more of Hampton Roads Voices, The Unforgotten. 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. Hampton Roads Voices, The Unforgotten. That is the title of tonight's episode. And we're talking about just that, The Unforgotten. Your loved ones may be missing. You haven't heard from them in a while. You don't know where their whereabouts. You're searching frantically for any answers that can lead to finding them. And I know you're desperate, but we are here to help, okay? Please give us a call if you have any questions. We have a private investigator here as a special guest expert. He's the owner of Beach Security. His name is Jerry Kale. And we also have Mr. Todd Matthews. He is with Case Management and Communications of NamUs, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Person System, okay? So we're trying to get you as much information as we can about what to do with your next steps or what have you, okay? Use this PI at your discretion. He's here for free. So give him a call, 823-9110, 823-9110. So we were talking briefly about one of the highest profile cases of this time right now in this area, the investigation of missing 19-year-old Ashanti Billy. And like I said before, that the family was notified. This is according to Wavy TV 10, that the family was recently notified on today about a body being found behind a church in Charlotte. And local TV stations down in Charlotte are reporting the discovery of a body of what appears to be a woman that was found. And the family was told to be prepared to head to Charlotte. So the FBI Norfolk has released a statement saying, quote, "We are aware of the situation regarding human remains found in Charlotte." But I'm sorry, this is a quote. I'll start again. Quote, "We are aware of the situation regarding human remains found in Charlotte area, but there has been no positive identification at this time. We're looking into it, but can't confirm anything." End quote. Okay, so during this time, Mr. Kelly, if you can help, why would authorities tell the family to be prepared? What, instead of, like, what can they be doing during this time?
First, they want to make sure that they don't alert the family to have to travel all the way to Charlotte and it not be their daughter that's there. So one thing that folks can do here locally is if you have any information at all in this case, contact the police departments. It could be Norfolk or Virginia Beach. Give them a call. You can call Crime Solvers, or you can call directly in and ask for one of the investigators. And if you have any information at all about anything that you might even think that it's just a small little bit of information in the case that might help them. But some incentive also is that they are offering a reward on this case for information that could lead to an arrest.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to apologize. I've been calling her Miss Brandy Billy, but she's actually married Mrs. Brandy Billy, of course, to Ashanti's father, Mel Tony Billy. So just a little bit of information on that particular case. I'm sure you know about it, but just in case that, you haven't been kept up to date in the news, 19-year-old Ashanti Billy went missing on September the 18th. On her way to work, and unfortunately she never made it to work. The authorities released a video, FBI released a video of Ashanti's car coming and then leaving from Gate 3 at the Joint Expeditionary Base, Little Creek, in Norfolk, on September 18th, of course, just before 5 in the morning. The FBI says Ashanti drove the car but was turned around due to an accident on base. A few minutes later, the FBI says Ashanti entered the gate via 1. Later that day, the FBI says Ashanti's Mini Cooper was seen leaving the base, but it's unclear who was driving. Okay? So later on, they found her phone in a dumpster and also found her car in the 9500 block of Lakeside Drive. So like Mr. Kell just said, please, if you have any information regarding anything with this case, please call the FBI Norfolk at 757-455-0100, or you can leave a tip on Twitter at FBI Norfolk. Okay. So, for the most part, okay, there are plenty of resources available for people who are looking for missing loved ones. But can you think of any from the top of your head, other than NamUs, that loved ones can use to either help get the word out, help locate, or what have you? What resources are available?
Just in this case itself, look at what social media did for it.
Absolutely.
You could pull up her name there on social media, Facebook or anything, and it would be loaded with videos and information about this. Social media is very important in trying to locate a loved one that's missing, especially in just the few days just after an individual has been reported missing.
Okay.
And I often suggest the same thing, going to social media and just making sure you keep the noise going, keep it moving, and that's very important.
All right. So for searches, if a family wants to do a search, do they have to wait to hear from authorities to do that, or or they can just go ahead and arrange one?
Well, hopefully there's someone in the family that has enough information that would be able to control that the media that's coming in, or the people that are in the neighborhoods or in the community that wants to help. Unfortunately, law enforcement their focus is on the investigation itself and trying to locate her, of course, but also trying to locate evidence and preserve that evidence and take a look at that evidence. For example, like the car that they recovered, they're going to be combing over that car to try to get as much evidence out of that vehicle as they can to try to help locate where she is or who she was with at the time. But the community is very important, and what they do is people in the community would come together and organize searches like they did in this situation. They went into the Norfolk community, and they were searching those areas, knocking on doors, handing out flyers, talking to people, trying to find out if they had any information about her or if they had seen anything about her during that time period. Is
it okay to do more than one search in a small amount of time? Like, over maybe like a 3-day period or 4-day period, we're searching for her every single day for over 3 days. Is that?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Returning to the area to take a look. There might be a person that was not there at the time that you were knocking on the doors. It could be that person could be the person that actually has that information or that lead that you need for helping out to locate someone.
Right. Okay. So of course these circumstances are unforeseeable, and they can't be avoided sometimes, and sometimes they can. What are some tips, both of you guys, if you have any, that can give to maybe a young lady or a young man or anybody out there to try to stay safe and try to avoid going missing if you can?
You need to check in with your family often. You know, we always say that as a parent, as a grandparent, you know, we want our children to stay in contact with us. You know, you have ways of communicating with each other in an instant nowadays, so there's really no excuse not to be back in touch with your family through instant messages, text messages, phone calls. I know we certainly wear our son out, our 16-year-old son. Mm-hmm. We could practically track his movement, and it's comforting. It's different. It's different nowadays.
I'm also a teacher of security officers and private investigators, and one of the sections that we teach on is it's the stoplight system. It's red, yellow, and green. You are in a when you're in your house with your alarm on and your doors are locked, you're in a green mode. You're in a green area. But if you're outside and you're walking around, you're always looking and suspicious of things that are around you. You have to be aware of those things. If not, then you could be a victim of a crime, and you just need to be aware of those things. And of course, then there's the red, where there's an active threat that's right there that you would need to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of at the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Would you suggest that people walk around with mace and?
It depends on if you're comfortable with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you feel comfortable that you are responsible enough to be able to use that and it not be taken away from you and used on you, yes, absolutely. I'm an advocate of carrying a weapon with you if you can carry it legally. But yes, if you feel comfortable carrying a mace, if you feel comfortable carrying it on your keychain, hold it in your hand, and like if you're going out to your car or something like that, and be aware that if a situation comes across it, are you ready to use that, or is it something that's going to be taken away from you and then used on you?
Mm-hmm. And I would also personally, I'm not an expert or a professional, but I would strongly urge all young people to take a self-defense class, because you never know. You never know when you might need that. Kind of like insurance, you never know when you may need it, but you definitely will need it if you find yourself in that particular situation. So if somebody is out and they think that they see a missing person, what should they do?
There's no sign on them.
Right.
They're not walking around saying that they're missing. If it was, it would be great. But the person that you would think that would be missing is someone that may be out asking for some money that looks out of the ordinary. You may see somebody that, for example, down at the oceanfront, that could be walking down the boardwalk late at night, and that's exactly what, and by themselves. That's exactly what law enforcement would be looking for too, and it's something that comes with experience as a law enforcement officer, that you see those things. The average person wouldn't see someone and say, "Hey, that person right there looks like they're missing." But somebody with experience in law enforcement may say, "Hey, this person looks out of the situation here, or it doesn't fit in this area right here. Maybe I need to go talk to them and see, what's going on, if they need help, or if they are, in fact, maybe a wanted person or a missing person."
Mm-hmm. Okay. So for those who would like to volunteer, maybe to locate missing persons, maybe, Todd, there are national nonprofits or something of that nature. Could you kind of speak on that? How can they get their hands dirty with the work?
If they're only getting their hands dirty, of course, they need to stay in close contact with law enforcement agencies and find out what they're comfortable with. But if it's not that directly applied to it, sharing those stories is very important. So if you're seeing stories that's been shared in social media, you keep sharing those stories. You're keeping their story alive, and you're also letting that news agency know that story is being shared. So it makes it more important to them. So it makes a missing person, just out of sheer demographics, it makes those stories more important to that news agency, because they realize people are reading and sharing them. So it's important by volume that the community share those stories. Don't just leave it land, share it. It's not going to hurt anything to hit that like or share button. I hope they do. That's very important.
Any tips for helping, maybe, perhaps, that you have, Mr. Kale?
Yeah, they can always call a PI.
Yeah. Hire a PI. Alrighty. Well, to get in contact maybe with NamUs or with you, Mr. Kale, what are some contact information, some websites, some social media handles for the both of you and the organizations that you represent?
What I do is I teach through DCJS. I actually have an academy that I teach private investigators and security officers. But anybody that has any information, I meet with potential clients on a daily basis and give them free advice on just about anything related to private investigations. They can contact me through our website, which is beatsecurity.com, or they can contact us at our office there in Kentsville and Virginia Beach.
And as for me, you can find our contact information, depending on what area of the country you're in. You can go to www.namus.gov, namus.gov, and you can find contact information at the national level or even down to the local level. You just got to click through the website, look at your state. If you have a missing person, make sure they're in NamUs, or just let us know about it. If you know of an unidentified body that's not in NamUs, if you don't see it, let us know.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, I want to thank our guests for being here on Hampton Roads Voices. I'm sure you helped a plethora of people with their next steps on how to find their loved ones.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no worries. Mr. Jerry Kell, the owner of Beach Security. He is a private investigator. And also Mr. Todd Matthews with Case Management and Communications of NamUs. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yes, no worries. And don't forget, Hampton Roads, if you have a missing loved one, please, please, please post them on our Facebook wall. You are more than welcome to do so, not only today, but anytime, okay? So post on the Facebook wall a photo, their names, of course. We need to know a description, a bodily physical description, and a description of where they were last, any type of information that will really help the public on getting them home safely. Our prayers are with you. If you have a missing persons case, of course, we will try to keep you updated with the latest information about this Ashanti Billy's case. Prayers up that this is not her body that is found in Charlotte. Please, Lord. Yeah. So make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Hot91 Online. Also be our friend, like our page on Facebook, WNSB Hot 91.1 FM, and listen to us again this exact episode and every Sunday at noon, actually. Hampton Roads Voices premieres again, every broadcast. So make sure you keep it locked. It's Hot 91. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not those of Norfolk State University or WNSB FM. Thank you for listening.